Welcome back to Noir Alley. I'm your docent of darkness, Eddie Muller. For your viewing pleasure today, I've got a cinematic bombshell, a film comprising three volatile elements that, when mixed, resulted in the most combustible movie of the classic Hollywood era. It's The Lady from Shanghai, from Columbia Pictures, shot in 1946 but not released until '48. The first volatile ingredient here is the noir movement itself, which by 1946 was encouraging so many writers, actors, and directors, and craftspeople as well, to explore the darker aspects of our humanity. Add to that the high-octane genius of Orson Welles, inarguably the most influential filmmaker of the decade, if not all time. Mix in the radioactive appeal of America's reigning love goddess, and you get a mess. But maybe the most daring, sinister, alluring, and, as I said, combustible mess ever released by a major studio. Now, my description of Hayworth as radioactive is an allusion to her image as Gilda being painted on an A-bomb dropped on the Bikini Atoll in July 1946. She truly was a bombshell. Her boss, Columbia Pictures chief Harry Cohn, relished the power he had over this fantasy figure he'd created. He felt Hayworth was literally his property. He spied on her, harangued her, wiretapped her house, and nearly exploded when his sex symbol was stolen by an unexpected suitor, Orson Welles. The notorious enfant terrible was at a crossroads in 1946. 5 years earlier, Citizen Kane had been the most sensational directorial debut ever. But Welles quickly veered off Hollywood's inside track, irritating studio executives with his artistic flamboyance and a blatant disregard for their dollars and cents. After RKO gutted his second feature, The Magnificent Ambersons, Welles tried to fly right with workmanlike efforts, Journey into Fear and The Stranger. He also wanted to marry a movie star to prove he was a Hollywood player. And, being Orson Welles, he set his sights on the most beautiful of them all. Without ever having met her, Welles guaranteed in print that he'd marry Rita Hayworth. It came as no surprise when he backed up this boast. He was, after all, an accomplished magician. Making movies, Welles once said, was like playing with the world's biggest train set. There is no pithier assessment of the man's approach to life, work, and love. He and Hayworth lived high for a while, but with Welles, nothing lasted. After Rita got pregnant, her husband's attention wandered. She was last year's Christmas present. Then there was the huge success of Gilda in 1946, a movie crafted specifically for Hayworth by producer Virginia Van Up. It exacerbated the couple's estrangement. Welles's career at that point was scattered all over cutting room floors. Then Harry Cohn offered him a shot at redemption, creating another filmic firecracker that would keep Hayworth burning in the public's mind. Of course, Cohn stipulated that Welles would have to work for free. Legend has it that while they were talking on the phone, Welles grabbed the nearest book, Sherwood King's If I Die Before I Wake, and spieled out the back cover synopsis as the perfect project. That's how desperate he was. Now, while that may be true, Columbia, in fact, already owned the book, and William Castle was set to direct it. Welles talked Castle out of it, and then talked him into serving as his associate producer on what was retitled The Lady from Shanghai. Now, even though he was under Harry Cohn's thumb, Welles managed to rebel. He rewrote The Modest Potboiler, turning a simple thriller set in Long Island into a complex, globe-trotting affair. And Cohn went along, calling Welles's bluff. He gave the erratic genius complete control, letting him write, produce, direct, and play the male lead, and provided him with a healthy $2 million budget. Cohn expected another Gilda, but straight away, Welles pulled the rug out from under the studio. He had Hayworth's famous mane of red hair cropped short, bleached platinum, and finger waved, and the war with Harry Cohn was on. By this time, Welles and Hayworth were estranged, but she agreed to be Welles's puppet for a pragmatic reason. A hit might help fill his barren bank account and get her heftier child support payments once the divorce was final. So Wells set off with an adventurous crew of veteran cohorts and fresh acolytes to begin filming in Mexico in the fall of 1946, while the glow from Gilda was still high. He borrowed Errol Flynn's yacht and began shooting. An excerpt from William Castle's production diary, dated November 17th, reads, "Cloudy and the heat oppressive. First day of shooting on Lady from Shanghai. The dark clouds seemed like an evil omen." Well, that was prescient. On the first take, assistant cameraman Donald Corey keeled over dead from a heart attack, and it didn't get any better. Production problems on this film would become Hollywood legend, something akin to the deadly journey upriver in Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Filming shifted to San Francisco and all over Southern California for interminable weeks of retakes. What resulted was a train wreck of a movie, but also one of astounding cinematic genius. It's pulp poetry rendered with stunning style and a kind of dark and crazy home movie made by a true artist. Here is Rita Hayworth, starring in Orson Welles' The Lady from Shanghai.